Welcome to a special edition of the Far Post Perth. Merry Christmas to everyone. As mentioned a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, we are taking a little bit of a break, but we do have a little bit of a treat. Today we have got a bit of A-League royalty, shall we say, officially known, I think, as the last man standing from Season 1 of the A-League, career that took him from Denmark and Hungary all the way to HBF Park, and unfortunately, maybe a little bit of an abrupt finish to his playing career, but he is here. He is still contributing hugely to the local football scene. David Williams is with us. David, welcome to the Far Post Perth.
Thank you very much,
mate. How's tricks, mate? What's happening in the world of David Williams currently?
I am. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to renovate my house and just do odd jobs around there, and painting and landscaping. And I was laying grass today, actually. 50 square metres, so that was
how do you go
out of me.
How do you go in the DIY department, mate?
Oh, pretty good. I think I know when to bring in the professionals. I think that's something that I can control and have that sort of discipline, because my wife's like, if you can't do it properly, don't do it at all.
Don't do it at all. And she'll let you know about it if you don't, mate.
Yeah, she goes, no point doing it 90%. So, you either finish it and do it well, or just get someone else in.
Obviously, still contributing massively to the local football scene. I thought we will probably go through a bit of a mixed bag on this particular chat. Alongside myself, we've got Neil Sherwin, we've got Donna Jeffrey, but I was really interested. I want to get stuck into the here and now, mate. I was really a huge time for the local WA Para program, which you had a huge thing to do, taking out was it the national championships?
Yeah, it was the nationals. So something I've just been doing on the side for a couple of months now. I've just decided to work in a different space, but also try to progress my coaching and my communication and how I go about things, and also just to see if I really want to be a head coach in the future and whatnot. So just kind of, dangling the carrot in a few things. And the Paras came up, and it was basically, you've got a bunch of players who might play, they might not. They were falling apart in some ways, and it was just, can I be that glue to mend them back together? So as soon as they found out that I was going to coach them, they all came running back, and just the attitude change as well, as I'm told. But I didn't have a problem with anyone, to be honest. They were first class. These players have disabilities, but they are definitely able, and it is so eye-opening to have done what I've done through my whole career, and then now step into this space. And I just, I'm incredibly proud of the way that they handled themselves at the Nationals. So a little bit of background, that's, I think, been going on for 17 years, the Nationals. 14 years, the last 14 years in a row, New South Wales have won it.
Wow.
And we broke the duck in Western Australia. We won the Nationals this year. So, there was a lot of tears by the players and even by the staff. One guy there, Michael Owens, funny enough his name, but he's from the blue side of Liverpool. Great guy. He's been part of Football Futures Foundation for a long time, and they essentially run the Paras team, in partnership with Football West. And he's been for 9 years, been involved trying to get players together, and majority of them are, it's CP football, so cerebral palsy football. And he's very passionate about this, and 9 years he's been travelling, trying to get this team to win and bring them together, and finally we did it. So, and it was funny because the game was against Victoria. We had, we got beaten 7-2 in the group stage by them, and then met them again in the final, and we drew 0-0 in the first. In normal time, and it just goes straight to penalties, and it's just 3 penalties each, doesn't go 5. And so we're at 2. We're up 2. They missed, so we were 2-1, and we got it to 2-2. Sorry, then we had the third one to go for it, and then he grabs his phone out, and I'm like, mate, you've waited so long. I said, look at all the other cameras around. put your camera away, put your phone away, and enjoy the moment because he goes, oh yeah, shit, so, yeah, and then he did, and he was the quickest I've ever seen on the field running after we scored. And doesn't matter if it's A-League, overseas, whatever, the feeling that I had, that they had, would have been the same.
There's some great scenes on the videos that I saw.
Yeah.
How did that opportunity come about for yourself to get involved in that?
Well, I was actually at a Matildas game at HBF Park just probably mid-year. I think there was a few games that they played there. And I ran into the CEO of Football Futures Foundation, and we were just talking at one of the functions there, and we actually didn't watch the second half. We were speaking so much about, Football Futures and that space, and speaking about Indigenous football as well. And he just said, I could have an opportunity for you, something that you might be interested in. And we just kept in contact, and it was basically going to a game and watching the Matildas for the first half. Went in the function at halftime and didn't come out. So, it was just, conversations. And I try to network and talk to people. You just never know where things lead to. And this led to a trophy coming back on the plane. Days. So some very happy players on that trip home.
It's an unusual step into coaching, right?
Yeah.
Especially at a young age for you, coming out of the professional ranks. And there's obviously criteria that you have to adhere to in that style of football. It's slightly different. The way they play is amended and all of that. Probably had a lot to get your head around to even get in there and see like what players you could pick and where you could pick from. And, as you said, guys coming back out of the woodwork because, well, David Williams is my coach. This is brilliant. Yeah,
very true, all of that. It was hard because the system's different. The pitch is basically 18-yard box to 18-yard box with under 9, 10 goals there. So it's quite small, and you do have players in different categories. So
it's like a points salary cap type system, isn't it?
Yeah. So FT1, 2, and 3, with FT1 being the most severe. 3, one of my players has more power in a shot than me or anyone in the Perth Glory team.
Wow.
Probably A-League. He is so powerful, but he's stuck in there. Unfortunately, he's a Pararoo as well. It's just amazing that these players can still do what they do on that pitch. But say he's a Category 3 or potentially even a Category 2, depending on his fitness. And then you've got Category 1s who struggle to even walk properly and can't hold anything. So there's different ways of throw-ins as well. Yep. One hand might be quite unusable, and you can't throw in overhead. You've got to roll it in and stuff like that. So there's all different tactics.
Yeah, right.
Well, for example, like a set piece from a throw-in, you might roll it back to let's just say the left back, and he just whips it in first time. And when the ball's rolling back, you actually can get more whip on the ball. So that's a tactic. What they use is, I'll set you up so you can just get it in the box.
Sure.
Rather than a dead ball, doesn't have the same effect. So, different categories of players, but also tournament football. Every player must play 60 minutes in 3 games.
Yep.
Purely based that it's fair and everyone...
I love that.
Honestly, it is great. But you have to really plan about who you're playing and in which game, and we just got it right. But not to say fake it till I make it, but back to your question, I kind of had to just go week by week. Yeah. There wasn't really, I didn't have to go and study or find too much background. It was more based on conversations with players, and the biggest thing for them was they just wanted to be treated like normal players. So I said, all right, line up, we'll do some runs and do box to boxes. And do you know what
you wish for, yeah.
Do you know what?
Skin folds, come on.
Oh, yeah, can't do that with them. But they just got in and did it. I used exercises that I would use in my normal training as a player. They were behind a little bit, but they improved and there was progress. And I just tried to challenge them with certain other things throughout the 2 months that so we had only 2 months training and then went into the tournament, and honestly it was so rewarding, something different. But again, I need to create a platform of coaching for me, because that's what I'd like to do, and just working on session planning and communication and dealing with players is, no matter where it is, from under Sixers to a cerebral palsy team, then it's still the same thing as someone in a Premier League job.
Brilliant.
I thought you were going to go again, mate.
I can go again.
No, go again, mate. Keep it going.
Well, what's the ceiling for you with that? Is it, you've done nationals, and you said there's players that go Pararoos. Is it a case of how many can you get from your team into that Pararoos team? Because even in general, Socceroos and whatnot, WA has been quite often underrepresented, especially even Matildas as well. Haven't had that many that have graduated, and I think that's probably a focus at all national level, national teams.
Well, to be fair, it's quite entertaining. Like, some of the games are actually, you're amazed at some of the skills that they can bring. So having conversations while we were in camp was some people behind the scenes coming out into the scenes is trying to get CP football into the para games, which it's not, which should be. Like,
there's no football in the para games?
At all.
Oh, okay.
I did not know.
Yeah, there could be blind football, but I'm not exactly sure. But there's no para football, which it is a draw card in my opinion, because there's some great teams out there, and it's a real entertainment type game. It's end to end. There's lots of goals as well. So I will try and help if they call me and say we need you to do this or need you to do that. Because I'm attached now. Like, once you start to know the players and get to know them like deeply, because they're very emotional. They have different ways of learning, so you have to connect with them in certain ways, and it takes time. But you can't just come in and be a coach and say do this. You actually, like, I've kind of got friends from it now, and I feel like that's why we had success, because my tactics for the final was based on mentality and attitude, little bit of tactic, not much to do with how we're going to play or how we're going to press. Or they're like, one kid is like, he goes, "Oh, so are we going to be doing rotations?" I said, "Mate, we haven't done rotations the whole week. We're not doing rotations in the final. Just simple game, and it's just like concentrate on you. It's all about you." So they were concentrating on Victoria in the 7-2 loss. They were just concentrating there. And we just tried to change that. And because we able to change that based on my communication with them and say, "Hey, it's all right, no problem." And that was maybe a technique that I've naturally got or I've learnt of other coaches. But you can't just go and coach and go and sit in your room, do team meetings. And I had them coming to me going, "Oh, we're doing a team meeting." And then again, I said, "When have we ever done a team meeting?" I said, after 30 seconds, you're not even concentrating on what I'm saying anyway. But, so I said, I'll talk to everyone individually. And the only thing is I only need to have 7 conversations, 6 on the field, 1 in goal. If you focus on yourself, then we'll have success, because I can give everyone, because they're like, "Well, I need to know what he's doing." I said, "No, because you're not concentrating on that." So they're like, oh yeah, right, yeah. So there's different aspects, and that's why I really enjoy it and I love it. But, Pararoos is, I've got 4 players in the team at the moment and 1 Para Matilda. So I've got quite a good pedigree, but I had this one player. Unbelievable. He got FT1 player of the tournament.
Wow.
He's been in and out. He's down from Rockingham, so it was a bit hard for him to always come up. The motivation there, and he was on the books of a Scottish Premier League club back in his teen years, and then his family moved over and potentially could have gone, to be a good player. He would have been a number 9, but a really big, tall, like a Heskey type player. He was having a jog down Rockingham Beach one day, and he was hit by a kite in the side of his eye. So on the side of the head there, and he got brain trauma and brain injury from it. And then then parts of his body don't work, right? So he was in and out of motivation of football. He hadn't been in this team for a couple of years. He's scared of flying as well. And once he knew that I was the coach, he then every session would drive up we were either at Gibney Reserve in Bayswater there or at Yokine Reserve. And he would drive for 2 months every single session because now that I was coaching, because he would go to Glory games or watch them, and he knew way more about me than I did. Maybe he's
doing your Wikipedia.
He's doing the Wikipedia.
You know what? It's not a bad theory. But he loved football, but didn't know how to get back into it. he was that passionate about it. His parents and him, they drove over from Perth to Victoria for the tournament.
Wow.
And he got
That
FT.
is a fair
Yeah.
And now they're off to, I think they went to Tasmania, but by the Spirit of Tasmania, the boat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And then back over. And then they'll come back. But his commitment just shows, like, these players still, have ambitions and have feelings and goals, I guess, too.
How awesome is that for you, though, that just by someone looking up to you, that you can motivate someone to do all that? That's awesome.
Yeah, it feels really good. And then that means I can give more to them because, if you're invested, I'll be, and that's like any team anywhere.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what sport, but it's even business as well. Like if you can be invested and your boss can be invested, then you can definitely grow. And so even if we didn't win the tournament, he was still like it was worth it, him coming over based on him growing himself. And he's honestly such a good player. You see him, and I hope he gets into the Paris team because I know the coach really wants him there, and he's been invited, but it's the flying, it's the travelling and things like that. And he's at FT1, which is most severe, and some of his skill, like he can do the outside of the left and bring it back, and then so the defender goes that way, and he's amazing. So
for someone like that, sometimes all it takes is somebody to believe in you as well, right? And back you, because if you are that disillusioned, especially with a disability as well, it can feel like you've got nowhere to go, right? And then somebody comes in and someone that you look up to actually believes in you. That's the biggest Kickstarter for a lot of people.
Well, take their situation and the disability side out of it. You apply that to normal football, and it's like day to day. You can go like that. Everyone can lift, but as easily people can drop quite quickly. So if you can apply that to even an A-League team, because that's why we're here, I guess. Like sky's the limit. Really, it is. So.
What do they do you've done this now, this tournament? What do they do now? How do they keep fit? What's the process? Do they have a local club they go to? Like, how does it work for them?
Some of them try to play with local clubs, play in maybe the State League 2 team, that type of tier.
Yep.
Not all of them will be able to play at that level. Sometimes when they go to a full pitch as well, and then 11, it's a bit overwhelming.
Sure.
A lot of them use private coaching as well and do stuff. They have a bit of an allowance through NDIS as well to go and spend for coaching, which is really, really good. So I think they use something, I think it's 2 halves or...
2 halves,
yeah, brilliant.
Which I hear is quite good. And they're just trying to keep, upskilled in that sense. But they can go in and play what they need to, but otherwise they just kind of get together at certain times, put a message out, and a lot of them also are able to work with Football Futures Foundation. So because they play there as well, they try and say, all right, well, we'll give you, we'll pay you for a couple of hours, but come and run some of the sessions or just be there and help with the kids and whatnot. So it's actually kind of like a family as well.
Good community.
Yeah. So it's I feel really good to be a part of it. And
I played against a guy from the team years ago. I played in the amateur leagues, and he made shit of me. Like to your point about the guy who can just shoot. Like this guy had a left foot. I can't remember his name.
Connor.
This guy no, this guy would be a bit older from a few years ago because I'm old. But this guy had a left foot that you knew what he was going to do, and he would just do it so well. Yep. That it was you couldn't do anything about it. As soon as he cut onto that left foot, it was a goal.
So just give him confidence and freedom to keep doing that, because again, like Arn Robin, like you knew he can't even use his right. You knew he couldn't even defend it. So you just keep go because, and that's the difference here. Is I look at some of our younger players in glory as well, and there's just a little bit of hesitation throughout, them attacking and whatnot. It's just like I try to tell them, like even when I was playing, it's like don't hesitate, just don't hesitate, and you'll be totally fine. And the fans will get on you, like they'll get with you. Like every time you're like, oh, like I remember when I was in India, the first year I went there, as soon as myself or Roy Krishna or another winger got the ball over halfway on the wing, the whole stadium was just like, and that, like, you might have been so tired, but that noise just made you keep going. Like, so sometimes that positivity, actually not sometimes, majority of the time, that positivity is what's going to create the, the spectacle and the entertainment part, because you just want to see people have a go.
Yeah, and that's those players are some of the ones that are most fondly remembered by fans as well, right? That they were the guys that took the game on, showed no fear, tried to beat a fullback. Okay, you might lose the ball 9 times out of 10, but that one time you get by your fullback and whip a ball in, that gets people off their feet. And obviously they're the most frightening players to play against as well, because you know that you have them in your pocket 9 times out of 10, but that one time they'll do you, and the fans will be...
Well, I'll tell you now, it's easier to attack and try and take someone on than defend it. If you see someone running at you over and over and over again, that mentality is... There's only a few players who have a good, strong mentality about that, and two just come to my mind is Aziz Bayic and Scott Jamieson. There's probably another one that just came to my mind, but they could probably take that load of 10 times in a row. Just come at me, just come at me, and I'll defend you. But now these days, there's not as many defenders like those two. So I would just say, just keep going, just have a go.
Biggest one for me, believe it or not, was Stan Lazaridis. He was head down and he would just go. I think it was Cafu who mentioned once that he was the hardest defender. He was the hardest attacker to defend in the world at one stage. I think they played in a Confeds Cup, and he said he's just got this body position that it's just head down and it's off. If you give him an inch, he was round you and gone. It was unbelievable.
Definitely, it's the players with raw pace and that directness that are the hardest to play against. Guys with little step overs and they go slow. That's fine. Yeah. You can watch them. It's the ones that have that raw pace and that will knock the ball by and run, because again, they will do it and they might knock it out of play or they might knock it straight out for throw in, but they will do you at some point in the game. You'll have a moment of lapse of concentration and you get made look like an idiot.
Are you talking from experience?
Look, you can't lose pace if you never had it. You can't lose pace if you never had it. But I've been rinsed many a time. Many a time. Dave is the kind of player that I would hate to play against, because the way you play is that doggedness for 90 minutes, right? That I might not have got it right the first couple of times, but that's why Glory fans loved you in such a short amount of time, that it was always on when you were there. It was on.
I just hate possession, to be fair. Let's just go. You don't get points for keeping possession. It's natural, but that's the thing. And when I try to coach some of these others, it's just like, what's your strength though? Let's just try and bring that out, and then we'll try and pick it up somewhere.
Have we overthought the game? I mean, you were a very direct player. You like to get on the ball and you're off straight towards goal on most occasions. But do we overthink it, do you feel?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You just want to be able to turn up and play. When you're going to play your best when you're probably most relaxed. And what I had the Para Matilda, Caitlin Smith, she actually got MVP of the grand final. She was awesome. She was so good. She was saying to me before the game, I'm so nervous. This is the final, the grand final the other day. And at half-time, she's like, what if we go to pens? I said, you're staying on. She goes, I'm so nervous. I said, well, that's good. Like, when you're nervous, you're in the right spot. If you're not nervous, then, you're probably in the wrong spot. So that's the feeling coming out. So, you have to be here. You're concentrating. You're all good. So the nerves will stop, once the refs are there and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, you're probably more nervous as a penalty taker rather than a goalkeeper, because as a penalty taker, you've got all the power of choosing where you kick it and also the power and whatnot. So as a goalkeeper, you're not expected to save it. So talked her out of it and she was fine and, saved the penalty. I just think that, and I could be totally wrong as well, but just from my feeling, there's probably too many meetings. There's too much analysis. It's like the feeling's taken out of the game. And that's a big part of, I think, and I'm moving on to Stirling Lions, is why I've been brought in is I think if we can look at the game a little bit different, but also those coaches that are at the club currently, if they can also create a philosophy for themselves through me and the rest of the coaches to deliver, you're probably going to get a better product rather than one technical director or one main man going, hey, coach like this, but then you don't know exactly what it is and the feeling. So I feel like coaching has to be a lot of man management and making sure that the players are feeling comfortable and you can get the best out of them by conversations, but also making a fun environment. Yes, there's work to be done and there's restrictions of, keeping fit and everything as the professional environment is set out to be. But, there's a lot of overthinking in my opinion.
I guess I was just going to say another criticism of that has been the Australian system where we've got to mould these systems and these players to these systems rather than let them express the way they want to play naturally.
Definitely. I think they're trying to change it in the front third through that and just be like, all right, now the communication from, technical directors and staff from Football Australia is coming front third especially, and which I just focused on more in those meetings, is let the ones who are the wingers be more free. Like, we don't have many players anymore that can just, Daniel Arzani's he's a good, what do you call it? He's a really good player.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people get on his back and he doesn't perform because he might lose the ball too much and then he gets pulled off and then the confidence goes. It's like he's actually one of the best dribblers and one of the most exciting players when he's at his, peak. So I haven't, spoken to any of the coaches that have coached him, but I think that comes from the expectation, though, of media and other things. Maybe social media is like, I'll get him off. Why should he be playing it? It's like, keep going. Like, that's what the Brazilians are doing.
Yeah.
That's what the French players are doing. It's, they're constantly just attacking, and that's the flair. Whereas, yes, you might have to be a little bit more structured throughout the back line and the midfield, but front, I just think you just need to, be free, be creative, and it's the entertainment business, really.
It is, and that's where with someone like Aaron Kunda, for example, now it's we don't want to coach that X factor out of them, and that's the fear, right? That they go into a system where you're playing on the right wing and you do not move from that touchline, for 90 minutes. Whereas what you really want, to your point, is drift, receive the ball, and then you compensate for that by a midfielder steps across and covers the space where he's maybe left it, and it doesn't become as noticeable and fans get on the back because a fullback attacked because Aaron Kunda drifted inside, for example. Yeah. These are the nuances to the game where you can compensate for, like an Arzani, Aaron Kunda, these kind of players. Ewer Mobile was another one. You've even got a few at Glory, right? That even at the weekend, last weekend's game, Kwang Go coming inside, going from right to left when he came on. That's what you want to see.
It was
right?
exciting, that game. Yeah, it was probably one of his better appearances. Lately,
and that's what I feel. To your point earlier, these guys lack the confidence because they're either in and out of the team, or if they don't do it after 50 minutes, they're dragged. It's very hard to watch.
No, definitely. I think Griff's going to be, now that he's in the job permanently for the rest of the season, I think he's going to do a good job with especially those young players. And the game is 90 minutes, so you're going to need that last 20, 30 minutes to lift. And
who were some of the coaches that you had that let you express yourself the best, do you feel?
Stadge. He kind of just he was like, do what you not do what you want, but play how you feel to create something. And he always gave me a lot of freedom as well, on and off the field. He just treated me well, but he also treated others well. Others will argue that, you didn't treat me well, this, but were you living up to the end of your bargain, on other things that he's tried to coach?
Were you coached by Blyberg up at Brisbane?
Yes, I was, yeah.
I mean, he was another different cat.
I was 17,
He's an interesting character.
I was 17 years old, so, he was, very different. I was in the QAS at the time. There was a big group of us young players who would then train, because there was no youth team of Raw.
Yep. So
there was about 5 or 6 of us who were invited to train a couple of times a week, and I was the only player that was given a contract for that first year, and then I signed kind of midway through, and then
he was a different cat, wasn't he?
He was had a carpet business or something like this, and drove this old Mercedes all the time, and he had heaps. Do you know what? I feel like the league needs someone like him to spruce it up a little.
Well, we've got Griff now, and it's that kind of
it is, but it's no Miron Blyberg.
No, that's right.
He's Look, I didn't mind it around him, but I was young, so
Yeah.
I had to accept who that coach is. Where I feel like some young players who are just, pretty lucky to be there want an opinion on who the coach is. It's just like,
Yeah.
very lucky to be here. There's someone else lining up. Just do what you need to do and work hard, and then, shut up and play football. Yeah.
Dave, we might take a very, very quick break. We'll come back on the other side of this. You're on the Far Post Perth podcast. Welcome back to a Christmas edition, a special edition of the Far Post Perth podcast. Blaine Treadgold, Neil Sherwin and Donna Jeffrey here with David Williams, who's chatting a little bit of everything from his start of his, coaching career. We'll get into a few other things. Dave, just quickly on coaching, I mean, from the outside looking in, it feels like a natural kind of progression from playing into coaching, but I mean, was that the case for you, or was it always going to be coaching after playing?
No, I don't think so. I think because I got injured in December and I was still contracted, like I had a bit more spare time.
Sure.
And I was still a part of the club, but there was just certain things that I could take on board and thinking, what am I going to do with my time? And obviously, as footballers, we think, all right, well, we only know football. But I was happy to explore different things and whatnot. So I kind of just fell into it, to be honest. And instead of, I needed to do my badges as well. So I did my C a couple of years ago and then did my B. And I was like, all right, well, now that I've got that, different stuff came up. And then I'm on a board of, it's called National Indigenous Advisory Group.
Yep.
So through that, we sit under an umbrella of Football Australia, and we have a national Indigenous team called the Charles Perkins 11.
Yep.
So because I'm on that and contribute to discussions about what we should do with Indigenous kids and their pathway to professional, or just to get them involved in clubs, they had this team and they needed a new coach. The coach at the time, he had to step away for personal reasons, and then they're like, oh, well, do you want to do it? And I'm like, yeah, all right, well, I'm come this far, and it was, to Melbourne and tournament football again, and it was, something that I fell into because I could accept it.
Yep.
If I was playing, I couldn't, because then I had to now go talk to technical directors from all the different states and speak to, people in clubs that I knew from around Australia and be like, hey, do you have any Aboriginal kids in your team? Are they good enough and whatnot? So we created, quite a good database of players, some, too old or some not old enough. It was just more of a natural, I wouldn't say progression, it was just something natural that I just fell into.
Do you feel we're doing enough to get Indigenous kids involved in football or expose them to football at least? I mean, the other codes Indigenous kids are very represented, if I'm honest with you. Football doesn't seem to have that pull.
Do you know what we're trying?
Yeah.
There's a few different groups trying to do the same thing.
Sure.
So trying to work together as well is a big thing, and trying not to close the door on anyone. Discussions are good, but you have to actually see a bit of a product or flowers shooting up rather than just sitting in the soil. So part of the program that we have is to try and get this Aboriginal team to kind of be not noticed, but we're not just making up numbers. They're players that might not have been able to afford to play at nationals, because I think national some teams have been paying $3,000 to get to Melbourne or Sydney just to play the tournament. And if you can't get funding or grants, it's gonna Aboriginal families, a lot of them can't afford that. But the player might be really good. But also, that's not just Indigenous kids. That could be all different.
The MPL fees here.
See it everywhere.
Yeah. So you might have a great African boy. There's loads of them here in Perth, but they're also spread out around the whole country. It's like they shouldn't be sitting at home just because of finances. So, for me, are we seeing the best players at that national competition? Maybe that's not for me to talk about or to deal with at the moment, but the Indigenous side, we're there to, if they don't make their state team, but they're still quite good, we can bring them into our team. So then our goal is to try and get them still recognised for the Joeys. And the first time ever, from this tournament in July, we were able to get one the boys players recognised in Carl Viet's team, and he was invited to a Joey's camp. So that was huge. Yep. So that to me says the program worked, where he didn't make his state team. He plays for Sydney FC, didn't make the New South Wales team, played with me, and then we were able to get him recognised. So that's part of what the program is about, is to not to skip the state stuff, because we want them in the state teams, because then they get regular training. They're with their mates that they might be normally playing with. We don't want to create a thing, just because you're Indigenous, let's come and be the best.
It shouldn't be tokenism. Like, as much as you want to help them, because then that creates, people resentment, right?
Yes, from the other states.
Exactly.
The state federations won't want to work with us as well. But again, I came up through the state system, through Queensland, and my dad had to go and get a grant for me to go to nationals,
right?
Even to get boots at stages as well. So, fortunate for my father to really believe in me as well and go and do that. It didn't cost $3,000 back then, but $1,500 was probably $3,000 these days.
Yep.
And then I played in that tournament. I was 16. Ange Postecoglou was in the stand, and then he picks his Joey's team from that. So this is the same thing. What are we now? 25 years later, essentially. So I've got a plan in my head for these kids, not to play the best football to win the tournament, because we're not expected to, because you're playing against players from Melbourne Victory, Melbourne City, Adelaide United. Adelaide had a pretty good team. Even WA, there were some really good players, and Neil Kilkenny did a really, really good job with WA.
Yep.
But my job isn't there to get 3 points and progress. I need to progress the players. Winning games is great for their morale and around the team and stuff like that. There's different things that I need to go for as a coach, and it's trying to get these Indigenous kids to integrate into regular clubs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just on your journey, just as an extension of that, I mean, as you say, it was a struggle to get boots, to fund everything else, and then get into nationals. Then you went to Denmark.
Yeah.
Choice.
I mean, from your background and the way you've spoken about how things were difficult to then because we talk about A-League players being young at 23. You were a teenager going over to Bromby, and you stayed, right? It wasn't as if you went over for 3 months and went, this is too hard, fucking them off. And you actually gave it. How did that work?
So during school, so year 12, I was lucky enough to go on trials, but it was funny because I used to play rugby union in school. So I would go and play rugby union on Wednesday arvos, and as a promo for the Queensland Reds players, one of the players would go and, do the trophy or say hello. Like as Perth Glory players, we might turn up to tournaments or, do our promo stuff. And so there was a Reds player there, and he was studying sports management at the time. I didn't know, but he knew who I was a little bit. He was doing, some work experience with a management company in Brisbane, and the owner of that's best friend was John Eales.
Wow.
So the rugby union player. So John Eales lived 2 doors up from me as a kid.
Yeah,
so
right.
John and I, not just John and I, but all the kids in the cul-de-sac that we lived in, we'd be out playing rugby and cricket, and he'd be joining in. So we kind of had this neighbourhood friendship. And then he's like, I see you in the paper all the time. Like, what are you doing with your football? Because I was in the local paper a lot with, different things. And I was doing Joey stuff as well. So that's also why I was kind of getting on that, getting recognised by a few agents here and there. Anyway, there was a company called International Quarterback. John Eales' best mate said, hey, David Croft, which is the Reds player, there's this young boy who wants to be a soccer player. He needs an agent. I need you to meet up with him and then go and get him some trials overseas. And he goes, I'm still playing at Reds. Like, I don't know anyone in soccer, right? So, and he goes, who's this player? He goes, David Williams. He goes, oh, okay. So then I meet up with him. We went for a coffee, or I can't remember if they even came around to the house or something. He goes, what are you doing here? And then they see my brother. He goes, Peachy. He's like, his nickname's Peachy. He goes, what are you doing here? He goes, this is my brother. He's like, oh, look like. So anyway, there's this big, massive, everyone knows everyone.
Family.
But
Yeah.
And he goes, you're unbelievable rugby union player. And I used to play fly half, and I loved it. Like, I loved union.
Big boot.
Yeah, well, it was more. So, the kicking side of it. And my dad and my oldest brother played rugby league as well, so I grew up passing a ball. He was like, I need to find an agent. So he called Harry Kuehl's manager, got his number, and said, I've got this young player. His name was Bernie Mandich. And he goes, we can try and set up some trials. So in my school holiday time, I went over to Liverpool, Brøndby, and Club Brugge. So I did 2 weeks, essentially, of trials. And that was my holidays. But, all my mates are off at the beach and doing stuff like that, being kids. I just had one thing in my head was I just want to play football. I just want to be a professional.
Just quickly, why football over rugby then? What swung it?
I think it was more worldwide stuff. I can't remember. But my granddad he's Scottish, born in Edinburgh, and I went for Hearts as a kid. And it's like I was always with my granddad as well. And so I think that kind of was drummed into me without me kind of knowing. So I think that was the underlying part of it. But I just remember watching SBS highlights at 8:30 on a Monday because I couldn't watch any of the games back in the 90s. It was you either it wasn't even called Foxtel, it was Optus.
Yeah.
It was
the Optus box.
Galaxy.
It was satellite up the top and stuff like that. Yeah,
God, I remember those.
Yeah, so but we couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
So it was Monday night, the Premier League highlights show, and I was just like, Harry Kuehl, he was at Leeds, at Liverpool, and I was just like, I just want that. So anyway, I went for a trial at Liverpool, enjoyed that, did well. Then went to Brøndby as well, enjoyed that, but also everyone there was just so nice to me. Like, I just even to this day, and I literally spoke to him 2 days ago, or yesterday, on Facebook Messenger, one of my ex-teammates now, and that was, 20 years ago, 19 years ago. And he's like, hey, mate, are you in Melbourne? I'm like, nah, because he's, just looking at photos. He doesn't read anything. He just looks at photos, typical boys. I was like, no, I was just there for a tournament. Anyway, it was just the people that warmed me to Denmark, and that's why I chose there. And Club Brugge are trying to get me signed. They're like, Frank Farina played here, and, all that stuff. And I was like, Club Brugge just felt very cold, like in the stadium and around the club, and
it's a great stadium.
Yeah,
been in that one.
But I just didn't feel warm about it. It just didn't feel right. Liverpool, they wanted me to sign but go out on loan to a second division Spanish club straight away because the whole influence of the coaching staff was the Benitez era. So I think they just, you just need to go get a bit more skillful, let us watch you from here and stuff. But Denmark was I just felt comfortable there, and I related well with the Danish people. Danish people are very similar humour to Aussies as well.
Yeah, mental fans.
Yeah, and when I was training with the youth team, that was at 4:00 in the afternoon because most of the kids were still at school. So I'd go at 10:30 sessions on the second field, and the first team were training on the main training pitch. And the head coach at the time was Michael Laudrup. So then sometimes I'd be doing stuff and I'd just be looking over the assistant coach. Like, hey, yeah. I was like, that's Michael Laudrup. Like, I knew a lot about him. And then they were playing 11v11 one day, and one of the players got injured, and they're like, we need another player. So I was doing my 10:30 session. They said, we come on the wing and just take them on, try and cross, whatever it might have been, or press.
Yeah.
And I impressed, and from there I basically, instead of my youth team contract, they bumped me up to a first team deal for a few years. So that's where it came from, is just the feeling that it was warm, the people there were great, and I just stuck with the feeling, and then I went to Fury after that.
Just a couple for you before we talk about your role that you've taken up down there at Stirling. Obviously, you've seen the full evolution of the A-League. How do you see it at the moment?
Not as the peak it should be.
Yeah,
I was in Melbourne last week, and I spoke to Paul Trimboli. He's working with Football Victoria, and he used to work at Football Ops at Victory, but also commentate for Fox Sports. And I said, mate, I've missed the days of Melbourne City and Melbourne Victory at Etihad Stadium,
50,000 people,
and
100%.
that was like an element of I feel like it was kind of peak A-League in that sense, when you've got this massive rivalry. Like, you can argue Sydney FC and Western Sydney in certain ways, and I totally agree with that, but the original derby type thing was Melbourne City and Melbourne Victory. Am I right or wrong? I can't remember.
Well, it would have been Heart, wouldn't it?
Heart. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. It, there was flares let go, and there was fog just sitting there, and didn't matter if you were unfit or not, you just ran. There was something else about that feeling, and I just watch games, and even the last few years played, and it's there's none of that. And I know I'm playing at Perth Glory, but I still watch the City and Victory derby now, and there's spare seats.
Yeah. The Heart's
everywhere.
gone.
The heart is gone. Yeah, the heart is gone, and football's a feeling, and that's what I try and say. And I even try to coach that to make it. Football is a feeling, so what you might feel like is the right option, it probably is the right option. So just go with what you feel. Where is, again, back to what you were saying earlier, is are we overthinking? Yes, we are, because it's I want you to do what's on the board. A lot of coaches say, that's a bit of structure, and then work within that structure, but there's still underlying, if you don't do your defensive duties, then you're off.
So talk about that feeling and making it Perth Glory related. What went wrong at Glory in the last 2 years or so, in terms of not having that feeling around the club and the fans feeling disjointed? We struggle as it is for big crowds, and there was just no reason to go watch Glory unless you were a passionate Glory fan, right? The casuals. It's hard to attract people. What do you think went wrong?
Probably a whole range of things. I mean, results, obviously, there was a big hiccup with COVID, and not COVID, sorry. Well, yes, a little bit of COVID as well. That's probably where it descended from.
Yeah.
So having the same type of caliber of coaches as Popovic from there, and then we've just kind of tried to, I wouldn't say replace him, but who's available and, what are they doing? So maybe that is the start of it, right? There could have been certain things about what players are in as well, the salary cap, the budget, owners, which coach is coming in. Are they coaching in a way that the players that they are inherited aren't suitable to their formations? But then should the coach adjust to what the players they have and play a different formation? So there's probably a mixture of issues. I definitely think over the last 3 years, we've Glory have had teams on paper that shouldn't be finishing last. But then it comes down to a little bit the players themselves as well, and myself. I can include myself in that because I was there for 3 years. So it's the mentality, but who's trying to get your mental capacity up? Are you just going Groundhog Day? I'm going to turn up here and I got to go here. So sometimes you need to mix up things. Maybe the arrival time needs to be different. Focusing sharp, all right. Football players want routine and need it, but just to stimulate the mind, sometimes having to think about what time you arrive and what time we do this, and sometimes when you get into that kind of old habit, that's just where you
get comfortable there.
Yeah, you're just stuck in. Yeah. And I feel like there was just a comfort cloud there. You can kind of argue as well, are the coaches doing enough? I'm not going to answer that for you. You can do that. But also, some coaches didn't have the chance to really bring in the players that they wanted to. But now we've got a list that is so long. It's just I just think as well, it's can we reduce that and then find players that are, you can pay a little bit more that's above average, so you're not having to rely on tags all the time, or certain other players where you've got players that are on, not minimum wage, but on that above bracket that can go and win you a game and be structured and just be more stable. I've got no experience in signing players and doing that. It's always from the outside looking in, but I feel like there needs to be more players come up from the youth system into Perth Glory to deliver a product to the fans and the kids who are in there to be I want to play Glory. Where I think a little bit lately there's been a bit too much movement from the east here. But again, some of those players are still good enough to perform.
Yep.
And it's then up to them. I think sometimes maybe the coach should be more ruthless with certain players. And, if you're not getting the results, again, all right, well, where do you go from there? So, there is a list of certain things. They're like, when I think about Tags, like he plays for the badge all the time, and he says it, he believes it, he's so passionate about Perth and this club and this town, like he loves it. You just need 23 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So it doesn't matter what you get paid, everyone needs to have the same feeling. But if you don't, but you still perform, then no problem. But if you're not going to have that, then you need to go out and like literally play for the fans. Because if no fans come,
that's right.
Like,
what's the point?
Well, it's not motivating.
Yeah.
And I could say a lot, but I would concentrate on Metro as well, and slow from the stadium start going out. Like you need to bring local clubs, and I'm going to do what I can now at Stirling to try and get. I wouldn't say promote Glory, but I was like, you need to have ambitions to get there and go and enjoy the spectacle that A-League has to offer. Like, it is actually a good product.
No, it's a very good product. Yeah. For what it is, it's a very good product.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of positives about it. It's a day out as well. You get something out of it, you get enjoyment, you get spend time with others. You bring a mate. I haven't seen you for ages. Let's go catch up and watch a game. Like rather than just sit there and talk. If I go and sit there and talk with a mate and go have a beer or something like that, my wife will ask me, "Oh yeah, how is he?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I don't know."
How was that goal, Dave?
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
But that's the thing. Well, going to a football match, you've got something else to kind of
you do.
come to. So, I love playing at HBF, but also I know I'm wearing the Masso hat, but I love playing at Stirling Lions as well because
you scored a few there, didn't you?
Scored a few crackers there.
Got a few goals there. But the atmosphere, and that's what you.
I think it was the last minute against Macarthur. There was the
Macarthur.
Was it a good last minute against Macarthur?
I don't think I scored against Macarthur there. Sydney FC, Melbourne City, maybe. Anyway, but like a football club isn't the stadium. It's the atmosphere and the people and whatnot. Like that for me is you could have a 8,000 seater stadium, but sell it out every week, and that's the pinnacle. Is not how many people are in there. It's about is it capacity? You're just running and it's loud and it's you want people who are travelling through Perth to be like, oh, what's on? Google, Perth Glory. Oh yeah, let's go there. We hear it's awesome. So anyway.
I want to just talk just very quickly before we wrap things up about that role at Stirling Macedonia, how it came about. Is it true that Donna Giuffre camped outside your house until you gave her your signature? Because
good Lord.
That's the rumour getting around town. She set up a tent on the front lawn.
It wasn't that hard.
Do you know what? It was literally...
We just connected.
I think it was it was like we were passing by, and then as you got past me, you're like, "Do you want to be the technical director?" I was like,
"I need you."
We're like, "All right, let's have a chat. Let's have a conversation about where we're going, what we're going to do." So from Donna, you could probably have more to say as well about this, but from what I understand, there's clubs have technical directors, they do their thing, but where does the club actually go with that? I don't know that answer, but now that I'm involved, it's like, well, let's do something a little bit different. Let's not do that generic route of, here's the philosophy, let's do this. It's like, I want to create the philosophy and the way the club runs with the coaches who are coaching. I think that would be the most beneficial way to start. So then let's just start there and then work our way down as well. I've just obviously finished with Glory as well, so became available for a job. And it was one of those things where I was just like, this is actually progressing my career as well. It's good for the CV. I get to work with young kids up till teenagers, to progress what I want to do and my ambitions. So we spoke and we thought, oh, well, this is a little bit different. Let's try it. And I feel I can bring communication, that side of how are we talking to kids? Like, how are we getting them to not play well, but how are we getting to play? Like, are we giving them instructions like, shoot or cross? But like, have they been coached to shoot or cross? You know, simple instructions. And how is that training look like? Is there a plan for training? Are we progressing certain exercises and drills and whatnot? So we've got our plan. We've got a lot of conversations coming up as well. I've actually got one tomorrow, which is good. So I'm very excited because it's something different for them, and they're just willing to work with me. Which I'm very grateful for. And I think we can really create something, not just at Stirling Lions and Masso Park. We can create something in the community as well, which we're also going for.
Isn't it about like raising the standards? Obviously, being selfish, you want Stirling to do well, but we've seen it with Kingsway in the Australia Cup. We've seen it with Bayswater with their championship run, and we've seen and stuff is not controlled by the clubs. So like the facilities and things that's at a different level. But for you, is it about raising the level of the NPL as a whole? Because you see players leaving NPLWA and going playing in Victoria and New South Wales. We want to keep those players here, and as you said, filter into glory.
Yeah, I would love to be able to have a hand in progressing that and them wanting to stay here. I would absolutely love it. I think there's a good product here as well, but I want them to have an aim to for these young kids as well to play for their hometown, not go over there based on finances. It's like, if we can get them starting early and build that loyalty into them, then they'll want to continue on. Okay, what's the next step from Stirling or Bayswater or what? Okay, I want to play for Perth Glory. So for me as well, it's like, you want to be a professional footballer. I had some of the conversations with kids. I just want to play Perth Glory. I said, don't set your limit. This is Perth Glory.
Yeah.
Play the Premier League.
In Denmark.
Yeah, play in Denmark.
Go to Denmark.
I chose a few different countries based on my option to travel, like new cultures. Like, now that I'm not playing, like, I'm probably not going to travel as much. Like, football paid for flights and accommodation and visas and everything. Like, it's an unbelievable job, and it's taken me so many places, and I just want to experience that. And I feel like, as a Aboriginal boy who, didn't get that much when I was young, I still, was all right. But to grow up from where I was and then to travel and play for Australia and all the other youth teams under that and play overseas is like, I've now got a story to tell, and I'm not confined to just playing in Australia. So I want those kids to also have ambition to play overseas. But it's like, you can always come back, but don't have that as like your benchmark. You can always come back to your hometown.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have one more question. It's in two parts. First
Here we
one.
go.
Does it irk you a little bit that you didn't get to retire on your terms, given it was injury related, and you didn't just get to say, nah, I'm done? And second of all, are you going to play in the NPL?
No, it didn't irk me, because just this little period, like, I won't let an injury define my career, So I want to have that positive outlook. I would have loved to have continued on and play, but my last full game that I played, my last goal that I scored, that game I was captain. So not the game that I got injured, the one before it was at Suncorp. That's where I started my career. That's where I played my first game.
Wow.
So to go full
circle,
we won that game as well. We won 1-0 against Brisbane, and we were looking for a win. I don't think we were quite successful around that period. So when it was getting injured the week after back at home, yes, it was devastating. Like, I would love to have not been injured and have to walk away. But it doesn't really affect me. I'm 37, like, probably shouldn't have been playing anyway.
What do you mean? That's peak A-League.
And NPL, I get asked weekly by people and coaches. I have always in my career been, with clubs and contracts. Oh, you got to sign this. You're going to do this. What are you doing? This. I just want to chill. I want family time. I want my Christmas. I want my, I will make a decision late January, I think. I've got to get fit as well, and
That's not what you told us, Donna.
I got to drop I got to drop a few kilos as well, and get
you
back
running
there.
with Papa a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be there. I'm not going to say it's not high on my list or it's low. Like, it's just one of those ones where I'll just take it as it comes.
Yeah.
And
just because it's a player like that playing in the NPL is a tick for the NPL.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
That's huge.
I'd probably prefer to be coaching NPL, like to start that career. But look, it's one of those ones where I don't need to play NPL to have enjoyment of football again. I can quite happily could go and play over 35 somewhere and just chill.
You want to play with me next year?
Hey, if it's close to home, I'm all right. Yeah. But I'm, sometimes I think, why don't I go just play indoor cricket or go play like that small size AFL, like something different where I can just, not be normal again, but like just try something different because I've just been doing the same thing
Like
for
your life
so long.
to you for the best part of 20 years. Yeah.
But also like weekends, 3:00 on a Saturday arvos, like my kids need me as well, and my wife might now says, "Oh, you're not playing football anymore. I can go and do my stuff. I can have their time." So I can't be so selfish with my time and what I want to do, because for the last 15 years I've been with my wife. Like, it's had to be selfish in ways. So now that I've had that, this little break, I'm kind of happy on the break.
No, that's good to hear because you know the whole it's a cliche, but no regrets. You've had an unbelievable career, and we were very lucky to watch you for the last 3 years of it. And it's great to have you given back to WA because the likes of yourself, Neil Kilkenny, even Matt Sparrow at Bayswater, the standard he played at, there's having that experience staying in Perth is huge for us. So that's good to hear.
Big pedigree over here, so just need to tap into it.
Very, very good. Dave, we're going to let you go, mate, because we've run out of time, but it has been a huge pleasure, and I'm sure we'll catch up down the line, and we could probably go on for another 5 hours, mate. But no, we do appreciate it, and all the best to yourself in your new role, and of course Christmas coming up, and obviously a little bit of time with the family, which will be awesome.
Thank you for having me, and Merry Christmas, and hopefully we get these. Can I lift this up?
Yeah, do it. There we go.
Yes.
David William endorsement.
There we go.
Endorsing the merch, that's what we want.
Thanks, David.
What did I say? We need to print on the back moss for nutrients.
And the Adam Griffiths exclusive shirt.
Alrighty.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.